I was running track with Bradford McFadden Jr. Brad and I were best friends, and Brad asked me one day if I'd like to go sailing. He had a friend who needed a crew, and it was one of those May days, I guess, or late days in April or early May, and I came up here. It was about 80 degrees, and the wind was blowing about 10 to 12 knots, and the hook went down in here somewhere and never came out. My first boat was a wooden boat, but the first boats I sailed on were glass boats. Brad McFadden had one of the earliest glass boats that Francis Laughlin built. That was 10901, and that was a boat. I didn't sail much with Brad. I sailed some, but everything worked out to be just a great opportunity to race sailboats. It's always been fun. I spent on average about 200 hours a year rubbing, touching, keeping my woody. My first boat was 12884. She was built by Gerber Boat Works in Island City, New York, and it was just a great boat. Great boat. But yeah, they have character. They all have character. And you die. I mean, and I'll never forget the first time when I first got the boat. She had a deck step mast, and the fortunate thing was my young bride, whom I married and introduced to sailing, she raced or showed horses until she married a sailboat, as she puts it. And she found out, well, the good thing about that was that you didn't have to water the sailboat, you didn't have to feed it all week, you didn't have to exercise it, and you didn't have to clean out stalls. But there was work to do, and so we worked on the boats during the winter. But you know, boats just have character. There's no doubt about that. I think they're great, absolutely great. They're better sailors. They're better trained. They've learned how to use technology. They understand more what it takes to win than we did. I mean, we were a little bit more in the mode of we drank more, we partied harder. At least we thought we did. They party pretty hard as well, I guess. But these guys are. They use technology. They study. They know wind patterns. They know currents. They hire coaches. We never had coaches. They learned to do things better. They built on our experience and have taken it far beyond where we ever were. Some of our older now masters were the ones who actually created the kinetic genre. I think my thought immediately goes to Ed Adams, who is not here. But Ed Adams, old Snipe sailor, been around for years. I mean, I can remember Ed bringing kinetics to the game back in the 60s. And not many people doing it then. But a lot of the competitors here have grown up in it now. The guy that is a 45-year-old master in the Snipe class was sailing collegiately and learned how to do it then. So I think it's a good thing to have it here. And if nothing else, it keeps a certain level of intensity, and it keeps everything even. That's what it's for. It's a certain way that people are that race sailboats, and Snipes in particular. They're very, very competitive. I've never seen a Snipe sailor who liked to lose a race. They usually, you know, only one person wins. So you have to make it fun, and that's the other thing that Snipe sailors do. They make the rest of it fun for everybody. Keeping the running rigging very innovative, it allows different size crews to sail. We've got children sailing the boat. My daughter started sailing when she was 8 years old. And she sailed with other kids and for many, many years. Wasn't as competitive as she is today, but she was competitive. I mean, she always had a competitive spirit. But it allows men and women to sail together, two women, two men. There's just a lot of ways you can adjust that rigging that allows the boat to compete. When we built our triple trailer and got to James Island Yacht Club, we had this thing where we were seeing how quickly we could put it all together. And we packed up in pretty short order, and we took off. But we always traveled with those three boats because they were my boat, and Peggy was my crew, our daughter and her crew, our son and his crew, and then they usually had two or three other kids, you know, would travel with them just as friends and have a good time. So we'd have maybe 6, 7 teenagers in the motorhome, and we got everything packed up and took off, and we're heading out to the yacht club, and we heard this squeal off the back, and I looked in the rearview mirror, and there was our daughter Teresa running after the egg, and we were leaving her in the dust.